Hi everyone, I'm Chelsea from Luna Rasa. I'm here with the Lunar Yoga lunch break today and every Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific. If you want to know every time I'm going live for this channel, you can hit the bell icon and get notifications. And if you've been liking these practices, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Today is tomorrow technically, is the new moon in Sagittarius. And our lunar yoga practice follows the cycle of the moon. And so embodying each phase and the energy or the rasa of each phase of the moon is the intention of this practice. And the new moon is an introspective time. The moon is kind of curling into her own cocoon and inviting us to do the same. The new moon energy is really grounded, it's still. And so that's what our practice today will look like. If you have some things around your house you can use as props, a couple of blankets, a couple of pillows, or thicker cushions that you have, that would be great. Not necessary, but helpful because we'll be holding our poses over time. It can be really nice to kind of build yourself a little nest, somewhere that you feel really cozy, that feels familiar, where you can kind of drop into your inner landscape. And that's where we'll be exploring today. As you're ready, go ahead and find a comfortable seat. If you have props that you're using today, you can sit your hips up on the edge of a prop to support your spine and sitting up nice and tall. And find a position where you can be both alert and relaxed. You might take a couple rolls through your shoulders or your neck. And any other wiggles or wobbles that want to make their way through, come out. And gradually settling into a soft stillness. And the stillness in this practice is always relative. Even as our bodies slow down, when we appear still from the outside, there's always the internal movement of breath, of our circulation, our heartbeat, movement through the energy body, the cells reproducing, the movement of our thoughts, emotions. And we're holding space for all of that internal movement to ebb and flow in its own way. I'm not trying to turn off or block out the flow of thoughts or emotions. I'm just letting all of that internal movement rise and fall in its own rhythm. And slowly start to come into your inner awareness. You might find it helpful to soften your gaze or close your eyes as you do this. And find a little space between your back teeth to relax your jaw. Let your tongue slide down and back. And if it feels possible for you today, begin to come in contact with your breath. And just observe the qualities of your breath as it is. Nothing you need to fix, nothing you need to change or make happen. And as we watch the breath, it's really natural for it to shift under our gaze. And it might slow down, it might get longer, it might get deeper. And just continue to observe and see what's true for you. And rest your palms face down on your legs for a sense of grounding. And the moon rules our inner landscape. intuition, emotions, sensations. And the new moon or dark moon is when none of the moon's light is reflected back to Earth. It's a time for the moon to be in solitude. And a time for you to turn inward. And to reconnect to your inner landscape. To empty out all of the distractions, mental clutter. And to connect deeply to your truth, to your needs, your desires. It's a time of coming home to yourself. Let's find an intentional breath to unite together through the airways. Let all of your current breath just fall out. And inhale, draw your breath way down into the bottom of your lungs. And follow your breath with your inner gaze up the length of your spine, broadening across your chest as you fill into the top outer quadrants of your lungs. And follow the resonance or the echo of your breath all the way up to the crown of your head. Maybe at the top you can sip in one more little bit of air, letting your eyes stay soft. An open mouth, audible exhale. One of the ways that we move energy and stagnation out of the body is through sound. Your vocal cords get involved, and a big sigh. Remain here for as long as you need to fully arrive and to let your energy, your mind and thoughts catch up to the same place and time as your physical body in the here and now. And keeping your energy held in close to you, gaze soft. And start to blink your eyes open, letting in a little bit of light. And if you've been sitting up onto a prop, go ahead and move that off to the side. And we're going to start today in Sleeping Swan. And Sleeping Swan is a shape just like, looks a lot like pigeon pose, but we're coming into it with a different intention. So in yin yoga and restorative practices, we sometimes use different names to help cue to your mind that we're coming in with a different intention. And I'll also offer a belly up variation of this in case the belly down version is too much on your knees. We'll start in tabletop. If your body wants to move here, let any intuitive movements, circles, rolls come through. And if you have props that you're working with, I like to have a thicker cushion toward the top of my mat, as well as a blanket or something really malleable that you can fold easily, just about hip height. We'll begin on the left side. Left side is the lunar side. As you're ready, bring your left shin forward, left knee behind your left wrist, foot behind your right wrist. And with your back toes tucked under, start to knee toe your right leg long behind you. We're not looking for the deepest possible version of this pose today, just until you start to meet resistance. And whatever space remains underneath your left hip, you'll slide in your prop and fold it up so there's nothing hanging out in space. And if you like to use a cushion in front of you, we'll start to walk forward and rest either onto your palms. You might bring your weight into your forearms and drop your elbows to the ground, or maybe all the way down to a prop. If there's any pain in your knees at all, if your knees are talking to you. And you would roll over onto your back. And you can take figure 4, crossing your left ankle over the top of your right knee, either with your right foot on the floor, or for a little bit more sensation, you can draw your right knee in toward your chest. And if you're in this reclined version, find a grip that lets your head and shoulders stay grounded. And if you happen to be practicing near a wall, one of my favorite variations of this reclined version is to just prop your right foot up on the wall. And then your arms can relax completely. And take all the time that you need to adjust and to set up your shape. And if your head is dropping beneath your shoulders, you would bring in a prop to support your forehead. You can always bend your elbows and prop your forehead or your chin into your palms as well. And the exhale phase of breath has the yin qualities, the lunar, letting go, impact on the body. You might follow a long, slow exhale and to settle into this shape. And to let that intentional breath be a cue to your body, to your mind, to your emotional space. And that we're landing here and now. And a sense of settling in. Perhaps a sense of letting go. Well, there's a lot of information about the moon cycle, and the astrological signs that I often weave into these practices. The best way for us to learn is to just embody the energy of the moon. And we do that by being present and by feeling and sensing into our bodies. And this belly down shape, really turned inward. Our vital organs protected, heart center and third eye down toward the earth. With our gaze soft, our eyes closed, we're signaling to ourselves that it's time to turn inward. And to let the external environment just soften and fade into the background. You're not trying to push it away or shut it out. Any sounds that might be coming in, light, colors, smells, it's all welcome. We're bringing the awareness more to the felt experience of each pose, of each breath. In a moment, you'll hear the sound of a chime. That's our signal for transition. When you hear the chime, find one of your fullest, deepest breaths. And an easy breath out. And that'll help your body prepare to move again. And come up nice and slow. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Remove props from underneath your left hip. And roll onto your left hip. And swing both legs around in front of you. If you're already on your back, stay there. And then we'll all come into a mini Shavasana, lying on your back. Arms and legs long. If you had a cushion at the top of your mat, you might use that as a bolster at the back of your knees. We'll be here just a couple rounds of breath. And taking this time in stillness between each pose to track for internal shifts in sensation or awareness. Maybe tuning into the places where you can feel your heartbeat. And this practice helps to strengthen the lines of communication between mind and body. Internal tracking is an advanced practice. You might not feel much at all, that's okay. Nothing to make wrong, nothing you need to fix. Just noticing what you notice. Maybe you notice the firmness of the ground beneath you. Maybe you notice that your muscles are feeling tight. Maybe you notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Maybe you notice an urge to fidget or fuss with the thread on your clothing. Maybe you notice that your mind feels really spacious. On your next few breaths, in whatever way makes the most sense to you, maybe rolling onto your left side, supported fetal posture, or any other path back up to tabletop. Rearrange any props you might need onto your right side. Any movement you might want here. You want to stretch your legs long behind you one at a time. And try not to think too much about it. Just let your body move how it wants to move. Notice what that looks like when you're not directing that movement with your mind. And instead just feeling your way in. And bring your right shin forward as you're ready. Kind of like a number 7. And tuck your back toes underneath, toe your left leg behind you. In our more active practices, there's more of an emphasis on having your front shin kind of parallel to the top edge of your mat. And we let that go here. And let your leg be at whatever angle it wants to be. And we're more worried about, more interested in how the pose feels than with how it looks. And bring in any props to fit your body on this side. This side gets to be different from side 1. And slowly start to walk your hands forward, lowering down any amount. And if you find that you want to roll your neck side to side, find a couple circles, let that mindful movement happen. And gradually settle in toward that organic stillness. Your body slows down, your muscles relax, your bones are still and heavy. And creating a soft, quiet container to hold the internal movement, a sense of spaciousness within your body. And that allows breath, emotions, thoughts to rise and fall, to flow through in their own time and their own way. You don't need to attach to or respond to those thoughts or feelings. And just notice that they're there. And create the space for them to flow. Today's class is sequenced to support the inner wisdom of the body. And the sun is in Sagittarius and the new moon is in Sagittarius this month. Sign of travel and exploration, of wisdom and philosophy. Sagittarius is the seeker of the zodiac. And gaining wisdom through experiences. I'm curious about the human experience across cultures, different worldviews, belief systems. Wisdom in the body is supported also through deep listening. For the rest of our practice today, when you hear the sound of the chime, I want you to really listen for the very last ring of the chime that your ears can detect. And as you find one of those full-bodied breaths, really listen in for the texture, the vibrato of your breath. Coming out of this pose slowly, you're moving through thick molasses. Just like we did on the first side, remove props from underneath your right hip. And shift your weight toward your right hip and come all the way around to a mini Shavasana. And right away, as you settle in to stillness once again, notice what you notice. Maybe one side feels longer or heavier. Maybe your awareness is resting over a place of sensation. Maybe you notice your tummy is grumbling, or there's an itch on your left cheek. Whatever you notice is what you notice. There's no right answer here. You might name sensations. If something feels tingly or bubbly. Maybe you feel kind of pulsing as you track internal movement. Maybe you notice the sounds coming into your space from outside. We're here for another breath or two. And we'll come back to a seat again, your own time, your own way. You might roll through supported fetal posture. And if you are feeling really hazy or sleepy, and your mind is really fuzzy, you might rock and roll a couple times along the length of your spine. Bring a little bit of yang energy, a little energizing into your system. Our next posture is butterfly pose. And we'll take butterfly with a forward fold today. Anytime we're forward folding, seated on the ground, I really like support underneath the hips. And really helpful in guiding your pelvic bowl to roll forward, and also be helpful to relieve or avoid any sciatica if that's something that you might experience like I do. And once you're sitting up nice and tall on your sitting bones, bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall out wide. And slide your legs or your heels a little bit farther forward, away from your groin. And we're trying to find an angle that is different from your habit. If you practice yoga regularly and have a kind of go-to spot, our mind does a really good job of attuning to what's new. So by finding a new sensation, we're hoping to bring mind and body together. And once you find that shape, you can fill in any space between you and the ground with your props. You might bring blocks or blankets or pillows underneath the outside of both legs. And you might have something that you want to lay across your lap that you can round forward and rest onto, a thick cushion or a pillow or a blanket. You might just walk your hands forward and either rest your weight into your palms on the ground, or you could bring your hands to your feet. Maybe give yourself a little massage. Really nice to treat our feet this time of year as they're starting their own hibernation into socks and slippers and boots. And this is the last new moon of the year. And the moon cycle offers us this really lovely organic structure to continually refresh and reset and renew. You don't have to wait until the new year to set New Year's resolutions that maybe last through February or March. Well, life happens. We get distracted by the outside world. And so instead of waiting for the new year, I invite you to tune in right now under this new moon to set an intention or a vision for how you want to feel as you move through the rest of this month. And setting yourself up for the energy that you want to cultivate before the new year even begins. We may be caught up in the rush of the holidays or recovering from the rush of the holidays, resetting into back to school, back to work. Give yourself this time now to establish the rituals and ways of being that will support you so that you can nourish yourself through this busy time of year. And perhaps there is some travel on the horizon for you. Sagittarius loves to travel the world, to learn from different peoples, different cultures, different geographies, belief systems, histories. And even if you're not traveling away from the land you're currently planted on, we can also travel with our imagination, can travel through the land of books, can travel through our internal landscape, and can even time travel into the past or the future. And there's much wisdom to be gained, not just out there, but also in here. The innate wisdom of your body, the knowing that your soul arrived on this planet with. There's much wisdom that we can gain through remembering, through really deeply connecting with and embodying our inner knowing. Remembering the language of the body. It communicates through sensation, through desire, through emotion. And bring your hands back to the soles of your feet if they're not already there. And with your fingers resting over the tops of your feet, bring your thumbs to the soles of your feet. And kind of tracing the line around the ball of your foot, bring your thumbs all the way down to that soft spot, kind of above your heels, in between the ball of your foot and the heel of your foot. And just find some really gentle circles here. Moving slowly, walk your hands up the length of your shins, one step at a time. As you feel your shoulders stack over your hips, pause there. And presence yourself to the experience of readjusting to this new relationship with gravity, head over heart. Use your hands to help close your knees. You might draw your knees into your chest, maybe round forward, hands to opposite elbows. You might lean your hands back behind you. Maybe step your feet wide and find some movement, like windshield wipers, tick-tocking your knees left and right. And from here, we'll move into lizard pose. Lizard pose combines Sphinx in the upper body and half frog in the lower body. If you're practicing on really hard floor, you might want to bring a blanket or something soft just for a little bit of added support to the outside. We'll start on the left, so the outside of your mat on the left side, just so that the inside of your knee and your ankle aren't resting down onto the hard floor. And I also like to have a thicker cushion toward the top of your mat or practice space if you're not on a mat. And that can help to support some of the weight of your body so that your elbows and shoulders don't have to hold it all. So we'll come again into tabletop, bringing your hands in front of your prop if you're using one at the top of your mat. And then slowly start to lower down onto your elbows. Slide your legs long behind you. And fingertips can reach forward or hands can come to opposite elbows. You may give your hips a little rock side to side. And let that movement get smaller and smaller and smaller until your hips rest heavy and quiet. And your right leg will stay long as you bend your left knee. Draw it out toward the left side of your mat. all the way off to the left side. And the inseam of your left leg will stay down toward the ground. And readjust as needed. Roughly a 90-degree bend at your hip, knee, and ankle. It doesn't need to be a sharp angle. Let the inside of your leg be heavy as your left hip slowly melts down toward the floor. Again, if your head starts to feel heavy and drops below your shoulders, we would prop it up so that your neck isn't holding the whole weight of your head for several minutes. I'm going to pinch onto any of the nerves that move through the neck, shoulders. Once you've settled in, see if you can tune your ears to the farthest away sound that you can hear. And draw your awareness in a little bit closer. Maybe sounds immediately outside of your space. And a little bit closer to the sounds within your space. And then in even closer to the sounds of your own body. The sound of your breath. Maybe sounds of shuffling or adjusting. Perhaps you can even detect the sound of your heartbeat. Imagining your left leg is really heavy. Move slowly, re-extend your left leg long. And let yourself soften down, forehead either stacking to the back of your palms or on stacked fists. If you used any props on the left side that you'd like on the second side, go ahead and switch them over. And as you're ready, open your right knee out toward the right side. The inseam of your leg resting down to the floor. And bring your shoulders back over your elbows-ish. And let the natural curve of your spine continue all the way up through the back of your neck. Let out a big sigh to pull in your low belly. Invite your right hip to melt down toward the ground. In my lunar living practice, I like to distinguish just a little bit between the exact point of the new moon, the dark moon, and that is this very still time of introspection. And just feel into your desires, what feels alive for you, what you want to create, how you want to feel. And just notice what's true for you right now. How do you feel? What thoughts are coming through? And the dark moon is like the pause at the bottom of the exhale. It's the emptying out. And we have so much conditioning around emptiness as a negative, something to be fixed, to immediately fill back up. I invite you to take the next 2 days of this new moon. Just empty out your vessel. Let yourself just be as often as you're able, even if it's just for 2 minutes a day, to be still. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, no one to be. And to just notice what comes through for you as you empty out all of the other distractions and mental clutter before adding in new intentions. And empty out all of the extraneous conditioning, doing, expectations, and to reconnect with the core of who you are. And then, after when we've settled into the stillness, the emptiness, the potential of that dark moon, we've really gotten in contact with our truth, with how we're feeling, with our desires. And then we can create our intentions for the month to come, and from that place of truth. Release your right leg long. Remove any props from underneath your chest. And come all the way down to your belly, forehead to the back of your palms. Crocodile pose, Makarasana. And rock your forehead gently side to side to release your neck. You're welcome to stay here or roll over onto your back for final Shavasana. If you prefer to take your last moments of practice in a child's pose or a seat or some other shape, that's welcome too. Trust your intuition and your body. You might bring in your props either to support the back of your knees or your ankles. You might drape a blanket over your hips or chest, some grounding weight and warmth. Let your eyes close down if that feels comfortable for you in your space today. Or soften your gaze. And clench your teeth. Soften upper jaw and lower jaw. Your shoulders and arms rest heavy. Low belly soft and round. Relax your pelvic floor, your toes. Sagittarius moves a lot like the lunar cycle. From this new moon time, form your intentions, how you want to feel, how you want to be in the world this month, the version of yourself that you want to embody, what you wish to create. And then during the waxing phase of the moon, we'll venture outward, slowly coming out of our introspective shells to co-create with the world around us, to gain wisdom through our own experiences and through the experiences of others, and to interact with greater humanity, and to learn, to grow, to expand. And the full moon, the peak of the lunar cycle, is the most expansive part. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, expansive, optimistic, gregarious. And after the full moon, as the moon's light begins to wane once again, it's the time for Sagittarius's journeys to start coming back home. And the new moon time is that homecoming, coming home to ourselves, to unpack any extra baggage, things that served us on our previous journey, that we can now set down. We can integrate our experiences, let the knowledge we've gained filter in and become wisdom. And the new moon is a wonderful time for vision work, to let your imagination guide you toward your intentions. And for now, we rest in your own inner quiet, in the soft stillness of this moment. Shavasana. And a long breath in. And a long breath out. Feel free to remain exactly as you are. If you're ready to be guided back, trace your thumbs along your fingertips. Rock your chin side to side, slowly reawakening and reanimating your body little by little. Reach your arms overhead into a full body stretch, like a good morning stretch, a reset for your day, reawakening, re-energizing your body. And as you exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a big squeeze, a big hug full of gratitude. And you roll onto your favorite side, supported fetal posture. Trusting that whichever side you land on, right or left, solar or lunar, alpha or omega, is the energy you need to bring with you into the rest of your day. And press yourself back up to a seat or stay low. One hand over your low belly, one hand over the center of your chest. We'll reunite together through the airwaves with breath. One intentional round of breath. Breathe into your palms. Long breath out. Your hands can stay where they are. Come together at the center of your heart. So much gratitude to each of you for tuning in, for sharing your practice, for being part of this community, this growing community. Acknowledging the land that I occupy, out of the Duwamish tribe here in Seattle. Acknowledging the ancient lineage of yoga and the lineage of my teachers and of their teachers. And the guidance of the moon, who reminds us that all of our phases have something to offer. They're beautiful and needed in their own way. Who guides us through our own ebbs and flows and through all of our phases. In gratitude, I bow to you. Thank you, yogis. Thank you all again so much for being here. It's been so wonderful to connect with a lot of you in the comments. Let me know how this practice was for you. Let me know what your intentions are as they start to come through. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you feel called to. And if you want to know when I'm hopping on here live next week, go ahead and hit that bell, get notifications. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.